Level 1, negative balance. There's a minus sign in front of the number now. You stare at it like blinking might change it. It doesn't. $4. You went under by $4. A coffee you forgot was set to auto charge. The bank doesn't weigh the size of the mistake. It only reads the sign in front of it. And the sign says under. $35. That's the fee. The punishment for being short is that you become shorter. The penalty costs more than the mistake that caused it. You don't feel angry, you feel tired. Then a second charge clears. A subscription you meant to cancel months ago. The system already knows you're under, so it charges you another $35 to go further under. Now you owe $77 to an institution that turned a $4 slip into a debt. You call. The hold music comes around 3 times. A voice reads you a sentence it has read 1,000 times. Fees can't be reversed at this time. You ask for a manager. Someone will call back within 2 days. No one calls back. By morning, the rent payment fails. $75 late fee. The phone bill bounces. $25 more. A $4 problem is $200 deep and still moving, in directions you never signed off on. You skip lunch on Wednesday and tell yourself you weren't hungry. A coworker asks if you want to grab food. You say you already ate. You didn't. At this level, hunger is quiet, the kind you learn to hide by performing full. On Friday, you walk into the branch and the teller looks at her screen, and her face does something you've seen before. Not cruelty, something cooler than that. You watch yourself stop being a person on her monitor and become a number, a risk, a flag with a name attached. You leave without saying what you came to say, because somewhere between the $4 and the call that never came, you stopped feeling like a customer and started feeling like a problem. The first rule. At a negative balance, the bank doesn't see a person who made a mistake. It sees a liability, and it charges accordingly. Level 2. $200. You're above zero again. You pulled it back. 20 hours of overtime to keep $200 alive for a single week. Nobody clapped. Nobody noticed. The bank noticed, but only enough to take its cut. The maintenance fee lands anyway. $12, sometimes $15, slipped out quietly. To avoid it, you need to keep $1,500 sitting still. You don't have $1,500. So the fee stays, and you go on paying an institution to hold the little you have. You apply for a credit card. They offer you a secured one. Hand them $300 of your own money, and they lend it back and charge you interest for the favor. You read it twice. They want your money as collateral to loan you your money. You decline, which means when your tire blows on a Tuesday, there's no plastic to put it on. You take the bus and arrive 3 hours late. Your manager doesn't say anything. He just holds his eyes on you a second longer than usual. At the branch, the teller is laughing with the person ahead of you, asking about their kids. You step up, and the warmth resets to something trained and flat. 40 seconds later, she's done. She doesn't ask if there's anything else. The next person arrives, and the smile comes back. You weren't insulted. You weren't refused. You were just moved along like a bag on a belt. The second rule. At $200, the bank doesn't dislike you. It simply doesn't see you at all. Level 3, $2,000, something changed. Not in your account, in how the account gets read. Your paycheck lands every 2 weeks, $1,600 after tax, steady for 6 months now. That pattern is the only thing about you the system finds interesting, and it's enough. The maintenance fee disappears. You didn't ask. The software saw a direct deposit and waived it on its own. The first time, you checked 3 times to be sure. The fee that bled you for years just stopped existing because your behavior finally matched a profile that earns them money. The offers begin to arrive. Real ones now, not secured. Actual cards, real limits, your name printed in that metallic ink, pre-approved. The same institution that turned you down a year ago is mailing you invitations. You apply. Approved in 90 seconds. You didn't become a better person overnight. The number did. The third rule. At $2,000, the bank doesn't respect you. It just found something it can sell you. Level 4, $15,000. You open the app and your credit limit has moved. $4,000 became $9,500. You didn't ask. The bank simply decided you could be trusted with more rope. Then the phone rings, and it's a person, not a robot. You've been assigned a relationship banker. He says his name twice, gives you a direct line, asks about your goals, your timeline. The same institution that left you on hold for 40 minutes now dials you first thing on a Tuesday. Money gets cheaper. The car loan that would have been 11% is under 7 now. Not because you negotiated, but because you stopped reading as a risk. A fee appears, you email him. 3 hours later, it's gone. No form, no phone tree. Just a reply that says, handled. And you understand something they hid from you at every level below this one. The bank was never cruel when you were broke. It was indifferent. And indifference at scale wears the exact same face as cruelty. The fourth rule. At $15,000, the bank stops charging you for being poor and starts investing in keeping you. Level 5. $80,000. There's a word on your statements now. Preferred. It's on the login screen. In the banker's signature. You didn't earn the title, the balance did. Your banker becomes a real person. David, who remembers you have a sister in Chicago because you mentioned it once, who emails on your birthday in a sentence a machine didn't write. The detail isn't warmth, it's training. Banks teach their people to remember small things because small things keep accounts. You walk in and someone with an office, not a teller, stands to greet you and walks you past the rope line. The same line you once stood in at $200 without knowing there was a line at all. A letter arrives, pre-approved, $400,000, a mortgage. They decided what you could afford before you decided to want it. A rival bank calls to poach you. You mention it to David. He calls back within the hour with a better offer. The institution that ignored you for years is now competing to keep you. The fifth rule. At $80,000, the bank doesn't just serve you, it defends you. Level 6. $500,000. The bank stops being a place you go and becomes a thing that comes to you. David doesn't email now. He calls. And he isn't asking how you are. He's asking when you'd like to meet the colleague who handles wealth. The colleague drives to your office, not the other way around, and lays printed reports on the table in a leather folder. He asks about your goals, your taxes, your estate, and after 90 minutes, he tries to sell you nothing at all. He just leaves a card. The sale already happened. You just didn't feel it. You're not being offered products anymore. You're being consulted, and needing them is worth far more to them over a lifetime than selling you one thing today. A wire freezes. Someone answers on the second ring and fixes it inside the same call. The call that once took 3 hours and 4 transfers. They host a dinner, 8 clients, a view of the city you've never had, and nobody says the word money once. Money isn't the conversation anymore. It's the table everyone is sitting at. The sixth rule. At $500,000, you stop being a customer and become something the bank protects. Level 7. $5 million. Private banking. It sounds like wealth management, but it isn't. Wealth management is a service. Private banking is a relationship. And relationships don't follow the rules. They negotiate them. You don't have a banker. You have a private banker, someone who holds fewer than 20 accounts and knows your children's names, who remembers the foundation you mentioned wanting to start over coffee last spring. Your mortgage rate isn't published anywhere. It's negotiated. A minimum gets waived because the relationship is worth more than the rule. Paperwork that takes an ordinary customer 2 weeks is done in 2 days because someone was told whose account it is. You walk into a branch in a city you've never visited, and they know your name before you sign. Not because you're famous, because you're flagged, prioritized across every location before you even ask. And once you're shown into a room with no logo on the door and a table cut from a single piece of wood, where the deal on offer won't appear in any brochure. The room exists because people like you exist. It only opens when the relationship earns it. The seventh rule. At $5 million, the bank stops following its rules and starts bending them for you. Level 8. $25 million. You don't have a private banker now. You have a relationship. And that word is the whole distance between this level and everyone beneath it. Your account is a named line in someone's performance review. Losing you would bruise careers. The bank doesn't compete to keep you. It organizes itself around not losing you. There are people inside the institution whose jobs exist, in part, because of your money. They don't know it. Neither do you quite. But the math is real. Nothing you're offered comes from a menu. The deals are written for one client. Rates are set in a phone call. Terms are drafted to your calendar. You don't apply for things here. Things apply to you. Investments reach you before they're public. Deals are built around your participation before you said yes. And the real shift isn't the access, it's the influence. The chief investment officer asks what you think of emerging markets. The head of private banking flies out to ask what the next tier of clients will want. You are quietly helping shape the institution that once took $35 from you for being $4 short. The eighth rule. At $25 million, the bank no longer has a customer. It has a partner, and the partner's name is yours. Somewhere right now, someone is looking at a minus sign in front of their balance, $4. A coffee they forgot was set to charge. The fee lands within the hour, $35. They feel what you once felt. Not anger, just tired. They call, and the whole music loops, and a voice reads the sentence about fees that can't be reversed. They don't know yet that nothing is broken, that the system is doing precisely what it was built to do. The same institution that will one day fly across the country to ask their opinion is, tonight, charging them for the crime of not having enough, because you were the same person the whole way up. The bank only ever decided who you were by the number sitting next to your name. The last rule. The bank doesn't change as you climb. It just finally shows you what it always was. And once you can see it clearly, you stop mistaking its arithmetic for your worth.